Peace and blessings, family. Sister Anjali, I have been writing, okay? So, I think I'm going to try to do this in a really short fashion. If it's not short, I hope you'll watch the entire thing. It is a joy to communicate with you, even in a pre-recorded share, and especially in the comments. I love reading your own insight and reflections on any subject matter. That said, Baraka, how I broke up with him. Now, the reason Ross is in my thoughts is because he is nobody necessarily outside of Newark, New Jersey would have heard about him, but he is connected, or his existence, his way of doing things is completely aligned with exactly what's holding us down. Right? Roz is the son of our great ancestor poet Amiri Baraka's, or Amiri Baraka. And since I've learned so much about different situations that involve covert operatives, I question all kinds of things that people will do when they reach a certain level of notoriety, even when they're completely unknown by bunches of people. There's a logic to human behavior that when I see someone, not just once or twice, I'm like, okay, people can have differences with you politically. But when I see there's a pattern, an established pattern that that person just keeps repeating, and I'm on notice at all, because the more definitive agents that I just happen to run across, and I've had that personal, like assault, I would have to say, simply because of coming up on social media and being the only Black person talking about man-made radiation, which involves, of course, the nuclear industry. All of this that I'm doing, I recognize is very, very impactful. And so there's certain people who've been sent my ways to triangulate different, just things, manipulative things that they do that haven't worked, because I haven't changed my subject matter. I had to sit back and try to understand the plan of Allah. That's not easy, but that's what I do. But all that to say, there's certain features of all these people who wind up being in prominent positions that make me question their sincerity. And so when it comes to Roz and his just astounding parentage, I even question his father's credibility. I'm not saying anything about our ancestor brother Amiri, but it's just they have ways of, like inserting their folks into our midst so that they can direct, socially engineer our beautiful Black people who are yearning to be free into then steering completely off course, so you're nothing but still on plantation A or B. And so with the Democrats and the Republicans, it's all on the plantation run by the same enslaving system. And the Democrats, I've noticed with whiteism, they have many different tactics for the inevitable goal of taking over the entire planet. It's some pinky in the brain lunacy, but it's for real, and I know a lot of you know that by now. But they will use controlled opposition, where they'll also employ good cop versus bad cop. So they will give one generation a sense that you're going to be rescued if you go over here. When I was young, the Democrats were much more respectable, and I was like a lot of people who were like, oh, I'm Democrat. My parents were Democrat. Everybody in my family is black folks. We were Democrat, okay? But, we know historically there was once a transition because Lincoln was a Republican and we were Republicans, and they did that bait and switch or Rooney thing from one plantation to the next back in the day too. And now they're doing a whole nother switch where each time they switch, they give us a lower expectation of true freedom and justice. That's what it's like, when you're just kind of sifting through something, you toss it back and forth until you get a more purified version of the crap that you're looking for. And so right now the switch is to the Republicans a little bit. They have to get more black people used to the idea that, what Trump behind the scenes is doing in terms of just telling the law enforcement, just have at it. Don't be so nice anymore. And they've been gradually infesting the media with, I noticed that after they went through a whole stint of police shootings of us, and they haven't stopped, I'm just saying, suddenly now there's all these white people being assaulted in exactly the same manners that we were when that wasn't before. Well, a lot of us were coming out saying, wait a minute, what the heck is going on with all these police shootings? This isn't okay. And we had more credibility because we could literally showcase that this wasn't happening to white people. So lately, it's been happening to white people. And I would make the conclusion, and I think very comfortably, that it's the Turner Diaries scenario. I don't recommend getting the book, but go look up the story, where this story was written, I don't know how many decades ago, by white racists. And it's just a fantasy scenario where we're given the authority to do anything we want to white people, and they're the ones who are being hunted all of a sudden. And so at the end, there's this vigilante group of white people who protect themselves and just eradicate all of black us. And so they have many different methods of getting to their final destination, which was showcased on the Georgia Guidestones. And it doesn't just exact that carnage that, they didn't spell it out on the Georgia Guidestones, but they said that they only want, I do believe, about 500 million people left on the planet when you've got, about, 5 billion right now? That's an awful lot of people. And it's not going to be accomplished anytime soon by simply discouraging people from the majesty of having your own family. You have lots of babies, okay? It doesn't get accomplished with the lowering of the birth rate as has been happening lately. It gets accomplished through wars, through violence, through radiation in our food. Which reminds me, let me showcase real quick here exactly why I keep emphasizing how destructive eating radiation is. You could pause this and read what's going on around there, but way down at the bottom, human fetus 1,000 times more vulnerable to radionuclides and radiation than a grown person. And when you eat this stuff, I showed the graph in a prior video as a background where the gamma radiation is trillions and times the power of like 10,000 or something. It's just a ridiculous amount more destructive than the 5G that they deliberately, as one of their, controlled oppositions forced in front of our faces, is the reason for all the birds dropping dead. And no, that's not it. Okay, so I'm just saying, when I see Amiri Baraka doing some AOC chick stuff, going up to ICE detention center, and there's the fence. First off, they enacted laws where you can't go up to a governmental, and I do believe it's federal governmental offices, and not be considered trespassing. And all of these more tyrannical edicts have been enacted, starting especially with Obama, where it just was the groundwork for the resurrection of the white man, right? That's what Obama was working on definitively, so that Trump could come in. And I should have said it when I first surmised, okay, he's being thrown out of office the first time around. That's so he could come back later on and be like, because they hope and pray that they could just do this psychological maneuvering on us. And so you people, just humans, all humans, will feel for what looks like the guy who's down on his ropes. Okay? And they had Trump look like the election was stolen from him. So he didn't look like a total loser like Al Gore. But at the same time, he lost. He's been railroaded. The world is against him. The shadow elite, the shadow government is against him. As I say, controlled opposition. And so they managed to get him on up into office, and they have all of these different laws that are conveniently in place so he can be more pure of a tyrant than those presidents who came before him. How far they'll take it, they really got to push it, because they've killed the Pacific Ocean. I recommend going to listen to Kevin Blanchard's shares, where he was talking about how the entirety of fishing along from California to Southern Oregon, even commercial fishing, has been called off for the third year in a row because there's no more fish. And in Alaska also, there's a NGO, I forget what, the wildlife something, that's trying to get king salmon, also called coho salmon, I believe, trying to get them registered as endangered. And I assess that because they have to look like they have some chance at credibility, the white controlled establishment can only admit so much. So they won't shut down just the entire western seaboard region. Instead, they'll just concentrate on probably the areas where there's the most fishing. So they don't have but so much time to accomplish what the Georgia Guidestones clearly stated is their goal: a reduction in population. What's all this got to do with Amiri? Because what the hell are you out there acting like you care about some immigrants? I'm not saying they're not people who deserve to be understood and heard, but not just the floodgates open and bring them all in. And I do believe that's, again, these are echoes of the ways that they've controlled whole populations for thousands of years, where they had an original immigration movement, or not movement, but they allowed lots of immigrants in, coinciding exactly with the time that Black you and Black me were starting our little towns all over America, and we own tens of millions of acres of land. And they didn't want us to gain just hegemony over our own destiny. Not at all. And so you bring in all these immigrants, you tell them that, all them Black people, they're your problems. So you have the Irish running in over stupid stuff that's printed in their papers that accuses some Black man of something that, even if he did do it, that's all of us, right? And then they burn down the entire town, kill as many people as they can find, and they satisfy their love of gore, right? And so with Amiri on up in there over this whole immigrant thing, I look at that and I'm like, nah. This is controlled opposition. And then he gets to stand up there and look like he's all for black people, or he's for righteousness and just, even though he's not doing anything that's, definitively pro-black, because these are Mexicans, a lot of them are Chinese, who are coming on up in here. And I'm sorry, they were not making a warm haven of Newark. They were hanging out in all sorts of places, and I do believe because they were paid to do so. I shared an article where an African migrant or immigrant had said that, the CIA or whichever organization handed him a debit card and said, go on in and we're going to pay you. How in the world does something so overwhelming start, and then just when they need to resurrect Trump, it stops? No. And actually, the articles that will never appear on Daily Mail or Zero Edge showcase that, no, Trump hasn't stopped the illegal immigrants from coming on in. Right? So for Amiri to be on up in there, and he conveniently gets arrested, I'm just like, yo, Cory Booker, dude, you might as well have just gone up a tree and rescued a cat out of it. It's just as inconsequential in terms of saving us from the real genocidal infestation, which is that meme that I showed you, right? Which I gotta credit him. Dana Durnford shared it, even though, and I ain't mad at him for it, because I'm like, we gotta separate. There's nothing Black Us share that is definitively going to liberate us, that is going to make even the most stalwartly freedom-loving white person out there have it. So he blocked me. I'm happy about that, because I don't know why, but I just was going to say thank you for something he shared or whatever. And yeah, I saw, oh, okay. That's that. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, but he got some great little articles and memes that he puts out there. And by our Black nature is sanity. And so I'm not going to put something out and then not credit the person. So anyway, getting back to Amiri and this whole AOC thing right up in here, this is a deflection. It's a distraction from the fact that where the hell were you during the entire corona hysteria nonsense? You mean to tell me, are you really a warrior of some sort, some Black Power warrior? He wouldn't even describe himself that way, I'm sure. And you and your ilk, your elected ilk, never said a mumbling word, even though the entire charade of it, almost, not quite, not as deep as it goes, has been exposed, so that even NDM, which is thoroughly a satanic rag in my firm conclusion, owned by Rupert Murdoch, who passed it on. There was a fight between him and his son, and I could see the results in the very limited amount of subject. This is just basically like a celebrity rag now. Subject matter they go over, but they were even talking against the vaccines. And I remember where you couldn't say anything after a while. You couldn't say that the masks were recreating emphysema on your face, but you were required to go into stores and you had to have this thing, this nasty, filthy thing, which was growing bacteria up on your face. And there are people out there who supposedly were washing their food in chlorine bleach. And this dude and all the other Black ones duly sworn into office ain't say a damn word against it. Not even now. Not even now. All they doing is grabbing hold of these friggin' controlled oppositional arguments. You look ridiculous. You look punked out. You look dandified. They're trying to say, oh, black man, could you please be dandy? Oh, there's so much, like the whole Met Gala with Anna Wintour, and she had a little bit of blood. That's all satanic crap going on there, and it's supposed to be about black people. They just very much want to keep us on the plantation, where we're not going to see the greater impact of what these devils are doing. We're going to be so grateful for a little, have some more here, Negro, on this plantation. And if you're not satisfied, go on over to that plantation and you're going to starve between the two of them. Right? They just want us to keep up with that nonsense. I'm done. I ain't voting for you either, Amiri, no, or Roz, sorry, your father. Right? I ain't voting for you, not at all. And you know what? I used to like the dude. I used to when he was first elected. As a rule, I don't vote for hell to stay in charge of our destiny. I am not for reparations because it's a bribe. It's another method of keeping us on the plantation. I do predict at some point in time, not maybe now that I'm saying it, it might not happen, but I'm just saying that I think at some point in time, Trump might offer us reparations because there's a gigantic awakening of beautiful black us. I just want to showcase one of my favorite platforms on Instagram, Black Couple Revolution. I mean, look at that. How many subscribers do they have? 317K. That is considered honest impact. That is substantial. And they highlight not just one, but so many different beautiful black couples. This is an awakening where we're just like, what is wrong with our just unique and mighty way of being what the Most High made us to be, all right? I'm just saying, we good with one another, and this is what they don't want. Because just like with that first immigration wave, just like with even the Harlem Renaissance, which was controlled by the certain small, teeny tiny little circular things on top of their heads people. And I think it was Rosenberg or something. I did the research a while back. They literally developed organizations to give us a feeling that we were successful through arts and entertainment. Right? But in reality, they suppressed our ability to economically improve each other within the black community itself, so that they just give us this concept of wealth is just going out and buying stuff rather than building stuff. The Most High commanded we become producers. He didn't say consumers. Okay, so that's kind of, we're getting that level of financial, we're not rich. We're definitely, a lot of us are fronting. And just sometimes people will go to the photographer's studio when they're taking these pictures. And it's not necessarily, I'm not saying whether it's their home or not, but it's not necessarily in their own homes. There's even influencers who've admitted that they'll rent these different spots. I'm just saying that, whew, and this is definitely also one of my absolute favorites. Black Archive, 603K followers, and they will just show these glorious. I love them all, but and this sister, her comment, I love looking pics of my people, but some look so tired. Well, these are just impromptu. The different photographers will do different things, and so they'll just take a regular photo, but at the same time, these folks always just put the hardship on us, so they've been working us for generations. And back here, we had to get to this day and age because we didn't know who the devil was. Now we know, I'm just saying, okay? So it's like, wow, how many? 11,100 others like this. Okay? I'm saying, oh, we're glorious. We're gorgeous people. And they don't want us to think that way. They want us to feel shame and self-hatred as if, what the, no. Hell, oh, so many ways. But anyway, I think this might be a little bit shorter than an hour. That'd be a great thing, huh? I just have to finish the pictures, though. They're so beautiful. Oh, we just so amazing. Even when we're tired, we amazing. Okay? And there's plenty of pictures where we are not. We ain't phony like that, okay? We don't just smile, sometimes we do. Nowadays we do a lot. But I'm just saying, even in the midst of hardship, we always win. So come on over to 25,000yearscycle.org. When someone has made a purchase, I am always going to highlight you. It's been a while since anyone has, and I've been writing my novel. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. And I need your help to do that without, constraints, because we need our creative people to, especially when they're going to be 100% about our liberation. And that both Dr. She and I are utterly about. So come on over to this platform where you're going to get healing on the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, I think from 9 to 1. And Dr. She, you go to the Let's Chat, and it's free between those hours to just, that brother's sharp. He's sharp. That's the reason why I managed to write books, because rather than flattering my abilities, which I could just be all right with, I could just be like, okay, I'm fine. I don't need to actually write now. Brother said, you want to write a book? Write a book. And it was just, I know it was simple, but it's so profound, because I'm like, yeah, I need to figure out why I want to stop at the flattery. That's why compliments for me, they're very wonderful, but I always don't take them too seriously. Never take compliments too seriously, especially if you get more and more of them. When I was selling my jewelry, these aren't mine, but when I handmade my jewelry and I would go and sell at crafts fairs, I get compliments all day, and it was so wonderful. Each person meant what they were saying, but I had to put it in perspective so that I could understand that, you know what? This is my job. Writing is my job, so I have to do it absolutely extraordinary, which I have and am. You could go right to 25,000yearscycle.org and get my books. You can click on Ajali Shabazz up top, or just scroll through all of our different products. And the one I'm writing now is, oh my goodness, wow. So yeah, definitely assist us in getting that mighty work done, because there's nobody else giving you all the information like we do. Straight Black Pride is our map to forever, and don't you know, that's where we're going. I love you. Peace and blessings. Mwah.